everyone, and welcome to another apartment renovation. So today I'm renovating 888 Spire Apartments, which is that large 3-floor apartment that's in the Uptown District of San Myshuno. And I think this might be the largest apartment that's in the game because there are a few other apartments in the Uptown District that are pretty big as well. Like there's the one building that has the two-level apartments in it, and then there's another building that has some very large one-level apartments. But I think this one has those beat in terms of size. And I've actually never furnished any of these larger apartments that are in the Uptown District, just because usually when I do an apartment build, I just want to do something quicker, so I go to the smaller apartments. But with Get Famous having come out, I've been wanting to create some wealthy celebrity families to move into these apartments, because, you know, of course, if you're going to live in these massive apartments, you've definitely got to have a lot of money. And earlier this week, I did upload a creative sim of a household I call the Power Couple. And this household consisted of a couple. One of the Sims was the CEO of a tech company who is a very public kind of CEO, like a Elon Musk or Steve Jobs type CEO. And then his husband is a famous actor, so they're both 4-star celebrities, very well known. So I just wanted to create this large modern apartment for the two of them. And I had a lot of fun making this. It was kind of challenging to figure out the floor plan for it because it is 3 levels, and I just always find it a little hard to figure out the floor plans for apartments because you're locked into whatever the outside of the building, you know, like whatever the shape of the apartment is. It's not like a house where you can kind of pull and, you know, like tug and pull or whatever and kind of manipulate it to get the rooms the right dimensions, like if you're not feeling how the interior is being laid out. But you don't really have a way of doing that with apartments. So yeah, it definitely was a little bit of a challenge to figure out the floor plan. And originally the lowest level of the apartment was just a pool and an office, or like a pool and a gym, or I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know there's a pool taking up a large chunk of it, and there's like a bathroom down there and a bar or like a little mini kitchen and something else. And originally I was gonna keep with that, but I decided to just not do that and just make larger living areas because I felt that seeing as this is a larger apartment, it should have living areas that felt very sprawling and not crammed in, because with how it originally was, you had the living, like the main living, dining, and kitchen all crammed onto one level. And then above that was like 2 bedrooms, and it was very open. Like there's a large open area up on the upper level. And I just felt like how the second level was arranged, it just felt very crammed because you had like the TV area and the kitchen and the dining room. It was just very crammed in because you had to fit the staircases in. So what I did was, on the lower level, I have the kitchen, which we are working on right now, and I was able to fit in a very large kitchen, and then next to that there's sort of a social living room, and then off to the side there is the dining area, and it all just feels very light and airy and spacious, and that's just what I really wanted, and I really had fun furnishing this. It was definitely a bit out of my comfort zone, because as I said before, like the cozy family homes, that's really like my favorite thing to furnish. That's like my comfort zone. But this one definitely took me out of that because it's just very modern and a little more minimal than what I usually do, because usually I like to go nuts with the clutter, but for this one I just didn't put as much clutter in because I figured they would have some sort of house cleaning service that would take care of tidying up the place for them. I didn't put in a butler bedroom because I didn't really see them as having a live-in butler, but I definitely see them as having someone who comes in and cleans the house, so it's kept very neat, everything's kind of in its place, and it was refreshing to furnish like that. So at this point the kitchen is finished, and as you saw, there really wasn't nearly as much clutter as I usually use, because I was just figuring, you know, these are the kinds of people who would just, you know, put things away in the cabinet and not leave it strewn all about the counters. And now we're working on that social living area that I talked about, because the TV living area is on the level above this one, but I still felt that there should be an area for Sims to just sit and chat, like if parties were being thrown. I thought it'd be kind of weird if you had the kitchen and dining area down here and then you had no place for people to just sit and be social. So yeah, like if they're having a party, I imagine that this is where that would take place, so you could have someone preparing the food while everyone is sitting and chatting here, and then they can easily move over to the dining area. And I just love all of the floor-to-ceiling windows in this apartment because it just lets in so much light. Like I didn't really need to put as much actual lighting into this apartment, and I just really love the bright feel that this apartment has, because I was thinking about going with kind of a black and white modern look for this apartment, but I don't know, I just didn't really do that because that's how the apartment originally looked like. It had black flooring in it, but I'm personally not a fan of that black and white modern styling. I just feel like it's kind of cold and it's not very fun to work with mainly a two color palette. So yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit more color to it. So there's lots of light green, like I use this light green that I used on the wall here throughout the apartment a lot. And there's also a lot of whites, a lot of creams, a lot of kind of, I guess you call it like a honey brown, like what's on the counters or the cabinets, although that's more of like an orange kind of color. But there's a lot of that in here, and I really liked it because I do have a tendency to gravitate towards the darker woods, so it was just nice to work with a different color palette than I usually do as well. And something else about this apartment is that there is a Lindsay smart speaker in every area of the apartment. So you might have seen me putting the one on that table that's next to the couch area, like you could see it there just now. Because as I discussed in the created some video of this household, the husband who is the tech CEO, he's the CEO of the company who created the Lindsay smart speaker. It was kind of like something that he came up with, but unfortunately there were some bugs they didn't iron out of it before they released it, so it was just messing up a lot of stuff. Like people would tell it to order something, you know, like people use their Amazon, like their Echoes or Google Homes to order stuff. So, you know, people would do that and it would just order the wrong thing or like just book things wrong. And there were some people who had some concerns, like privacy concerns over it. So the whole release of it was just a fiasco, and his reputation suffered because of it, because as I said, he's like the public face of the company, so all of the blame for that product release and the issues with it went on to him, and then so it knocked his reputation down a bit because him and his husband were always well loved, so his reputation went from being near pristine level to being a bit into the red. And then because his husband has publicly shown support for him, his reputation got knocked down a little bit as well, but not nearly as bad. Like he's still overall in the positive. So I don't know, that's just kind of like the struggle that this household is going through right now, or kind of like the challenge that they're going through. So if you do want to download this house and this apartment and play as them, then that's just sort of a scenario you can try to start off the game with. Like as I said in the creative sim, since that's not really a scenario you have in the game specifically, your way of working through it could be to just get their reputations back up to the pristine level. Because when I make households, I like to have some kind of little challenge going on in their life, just something as a starting point to work through, and then from there you can maybe kind of get into other things just to make the gameplay a little bit more interesting. So that's why when I create households, that's why there tends to be like some sort of drama. That's just why I like to do that. I like to just make the game a little bit more interesting for myself. So anyway, because of that whole deal, and him obviously being the creator of this product, I just wanted to have it all over the house. Like, this is a smart apartment. Like, they got that. They got smart bulbs. They've got talking toilets, and it's all kind of interconnecting, like how a lot of people are really into home automation nowadays. So yeah, that's what I was thinking was going on in this apartment. Obviously, this is his creation. He's really trying, you know, like they've of course fixed it since the rollout of it, and he's trying to change the public perception of this product. So he has it all over his house, and I was kind of imagining that maybe he like uploaded videos of himself using it to social media to try to show people that it's working fine, and that's part of his PR recovery of himself. And I'm sure he also has, like, I also gave him the perk, the PR agency perk, so I imagine he also has a PR agency working on fixing this. So that's something you could also use to your advantage if you do choose to play this household. And I also gave him I can't remember what exactly it was called, but the quirk where they always had to be on their phone, because I just saw that suiting him very well, since, you know, he's got this whole home automation thing going on. I feel like he's just always on his phone messing with things and using it, and is a little obsessed with it since technology is such a huge part of his life. But as far as the furnishing, right now we are on the bathroom that's in this downstairs area, because of course, you know, since this is a social area of the apartment, we have to have a bathroom down here for guests to use. And originally I was gonna have one combo laundry room and bathroom down here, but I just felt like a place like this would have the rooms separate. And plus I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out a layout for a combo bathroom / laundry room. So once I split it up into the two rooms, it just was a bit easier. And then, as you probably saw, there is also a gym in the front area of it, because his husband, Glenn, who is the actor of the household, he is, of course, very into being fit. So they had to have a home gym. Steven, who is the tech CEO, Sim is also into working out, but not on the same level as Glenn. But you know, they both have a gym. There's 2 treadmills in there, so I could just imagine them. I could just imagine them using the treadmills next to each other, like doing a workout together, and they got their own TV to watch, and they got their headphones in, just kind of listening to their own different TV shows. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cute. But right now we are furnishing Steven's office. So I set up his office so that it's one of the ones where you have 2 chairs facing the computer desk, because I imagine that maybe he sometimes conducts business meetings in here. And I just wanted to once again continue with the light and airy feel that this apartment has. And I also wanted to feel very warm and welcoming. We've of course got a Lindsay speaker right there on its very own table. And then here I'm just putting in these magazine cover decorations, because I was imagining that those were magazines where they were articles having to do with the company, or maybe he was on the cover of them, or someone from the company was on the cover of them. And then on the other wall, I was just placing in I think it was like a 400-500-esque plaque, like they're kind of going for. I think that's what they're going for with it, because I imagine he's the CEO of one of like the top 500 companies, and then below that there was a first simoleon plaque. So, you know, he's kind of remembering where he came from, and he's got the first dollar earned hanging up there. So I thought that was cool. But now we're on to the second level, and I'm using this weird looking red shelf here because I saw that Simlacy was using this in her speed builds. And basically what this is it's a very large shelf that you can adjust up and down the wall wherever you want, like one of the regular shelves in the game, but due to its size you can put larger objects on it. And basically what you can do with this is you can get it so that you can more easily fine-tune the height that objects go into, because what I've done in the past when I wanted to raise up objects, so like when I wanted to put objects onto shelves that don't actually snap onto the shelves, what I've done is I've just used the 0 and 9 keys with the move objects cheat to raise them up. But when you do that, there's only set levels that you can raise it up to, whereas if you place a shelf using the Alt key, you can more finely place it basically wherever you want. So the issue I've always had in the past is that when using the 9 key to raise up objects onto existing surfaces, the actual height of the surface lies somewhere between 2 of the levels that the object will raise up to, if I'm making any sense here. So basically I'm not able to make it look like the objects are actually sitting on top of it. That I either have to make it look like they're floating slightly or they're buried down the shelf, which with some objects does not work. So what the shelf does is it allows you to have that more fine adjustments, because as you can see here, I have the shelf next to this table. It's at the level of the height, or that's not even a table, that's the stool that came with Jungle Adventures. So you can't snap anything onto it. So basically what I did was I made it so the shelf was at the same level as the top of that stool, so that I could snap the objects to the shelf and then move them over to look as if they're on top of that chair. So hopefully that'll make sense, but basically it just bypasses the heights that you can raise objects up to and allows you to more finely tune the height you have objects at. It's just incredibly helpful, and I used it throughout this build, and it just made things so much easier than it has been in the past, because it is super tedious to tap the 9 key over and over again, trying to get things to the right height. And then I, of course, at one point used because you can, if you go into tab mode, you can set camera angles, and you do that by doing like control and then one of the numbers 5 through 9. So anyway, I previously used 9 to set a camera angle, so the problem is I always have to do control 9 when raising to make it so the camera doesn't fly off. But anyway, it just makes it so much easier. And I have been seeing her use that in builds for a while now, and I kept meaning to get it, but I kept forgetting to, and I finally put it into my game, and I really wish I had done it sooner. And it is custom content, but since I did take it out of the build before uploading it, the build won't be marked as having custom content in it. So I will have a link to it down in the description in case anyone wants to get it and put it into their game, because if you're someone who builds a lot, it is just incredibly helpful. But right now we are on to the TV living area. So I want to do something really cool. Oh yeah, I also realized that I should put a high chair somewhere in here, because I do have a toddler daughter as well, so just want to throw that in for her. But anyway, back to this. I want to do something really cool and unique for the TV area, because this is such a modern high-end apartment that I just wanted there to be some sort of extravagance to the TV area, but I was having a little trouble figuring that out at first. But I got this idea to take that wall decoration, which came with luxury party stuff, and put it behind the TV to make this cool, it's kind of like a wall mount, I think is what it ends up looking like, but it's like this backlit wall mount, and I just think it looks so cool. And really sets that area apart. And then on either side of it, I went symmetrical with these plants and these lights, which I usually don't like to do. I usually don't like to do things asymmetrically, but I think for this apartment it works. And then over here in this corner, we've got a grand piano because this place definitely has enough space for that. And also, Glenn does like to play the piano. It's something that he's been doing ever since he's a kid. And it's not something that's really widely known about him. It's one of those, like, kind of celebrity why am I messing up my words? It's like one of those celebrity facts you learned. Like, oh, did you know that Glenn Lee plays the piano and has been playing it ever since he was a kid? You know, it's that kind of a deal. It's not something that's widely known about him. And he is actually very good at it. I gave him a pretty high piano skill level. I think it was 8 or 9. Or maybe it's one of the other skills I gave him that high. But either way, it's somewhere above a level 5 skill at it. So yeah, I thought that was kind of like a cool detail I added about him. But right now I'm just working on this outer area, or this like outside area here. So we've just got some couches, we've got a grill, and I think that's about it. Like, there wasn't really a ton of space out here, so we just got a seating area with that open, that kind of fire pit coffee table, and then we got some plants, and that is about it. And then after I did this, I actually moved on to the upstairs, even though there was one room that still needed to be furnished, because I wasn't sure what I was going to use it for, because originally my plan was to make that their daughter's playroom, but then I thought that perhaps it would be better to have an office for Glenn as well, so that he gets his own space as well, because, you know, he definitely should have that a part of the apartment that is just his space since his husband got that. So I just wanted to wait and see how much I could fit into their daughter's room before deciding whether I needed to furnish that as that. And something else I need to mention about this apartment is that it is up for download, but it's gonna be a little bit trickier than usual to put into your game, because normally when I upload apartments, I'm able to upload them as one room, but this one is gonna be uploaded as 7 rooms, and it should be pretty easy to figure out how to place them, because they will be uploaded as 888 Spire apartments room blank out of 7, so you'll be able to tell like which order to put them in, because basically I just order it so that you put them in from the bottom up. And I had to do that because of the open stair areas and the 3 levels, and also for some weird reason I couldn't get the laundry room and bathroom on the lower level to be in the same room as the rest of the lower level. I have no idea why that won't work, because normally my trick for getting it to be one room is to just delete a wall and then pull the wall over so that the wall is still there, but it's one room. But it would not let me do that with that room for whatever reason. Like my normal trick wouldn't work, just deleting the wall wouldn't work. So for the lower level, there's most of the lower level in one room, and then the bathroom and laundry room in another room. And then for the level above that, there's the outdoor area. I had to make that separate because the game wouldn't let me have that as part of the rest of the level. And then there had to be a separate room for the open area above the stairwell. And then of course the rest of it is yet another room, and then upstairs is split into 2 rooms, so you have the open area and the rest of it once again. But I did try out placing it because I just wanted to make sure that it worked before I went uploaded everything. But yeah, it does work. You just kind of have to puzzle piece it together, and like I said, go in the order that the rooms are. I mean, it's probably not a huge deal if you go out of the order, but it just makes it a little bit easier. You know, just turn move objects on, and that sheet, in case you don't know, it is bb.moveobjects. So you just turn that sheet on and then bulldoze the apartment and just place all the rooms in order, and it should be fine. It sucks that it's a little bit more work than usual, but I'll try to put links to all of those rooms in the description below so that you can just go to the online gallery and click download, and then it'll be in your game when you load it up once again, or you could just always get it in game. It doesn't really matter. But right now we are furnishing the master bedroom, and once again, it is very bright and airy. I just really love that whole look. I also like that brick wall that's behind the bed area. I just really like the color scheme of this room. And we are already onto the bathroom, but yeah, the bedroom is also, once again, not very cluttered. It's very minimal, and part of that was because of all the windows. I didn't want to block any of the windows, although I did put a TV in front of one of them. But apart from that, I didn't want to block any of them. And originally, I was going to have closets in the room because I did have that one wall that had 2 closets against it. But as I was furnishing it, I realized that it was kind of silly to block one of the windows with a bed, and then you basically wake up with your back to the beautiful view. So I just thought it would look better to get rid of the closets and then put the bed on the other side, so that way when they wake up they can see the view of San Myshuno right away. Like, that would just be an absolutely amazing view to wake up to. But we're onto the bathroom now, and this was also a bit tricky to lay out because of the windows, because I don't want to stick a toilet right in front of a window, obviously. You know, you don't want to be putting, I mean, I don't think anyone would really be able to see in the window, but still, it would just irk me to have a toilet literally up against a window, because that, plumbing-wise, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I wasn't really able to put much stuff around the windows, and that led to it being a little tricky to figure out where to put things. Although I did put a corner tub right against a window, but I figured that was fine because, yeah, this one right here, because the plumbing part of it, like where the actual plumbing would be, is over on the wall side of it, not the window side of it, so I figured that was fine. And plus, I don't know, that's a little different. Like, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a corner tub where you could just look right out and see San Myshuno as you're taking a bath. I just thought that'd be really cool, and I would definitely love to have a bathroom like this in real life. It just looks like such a relaxing oasis. And then we've got this little lounge chair in here, so I don't know, they can just sit in here and look out the window at those beautiful views once again. And then there's 2 separate sinks, so they each have their own sink they can get ready at. So yeah, this is a pretty nice master suite. Oh, and then the toilet and shower are, of course, tucked over in that area off to the side, so they feel a little bit more private. And I also swapped out the sinks because I wasn't really feeling how the Get Famous sinks looked in there, but these ones definitely looked better. And since I was already on a roll with the bathroom furnishing, I just went ahead and furnished what is their daughter's bedroom or bathroom. So I just used a lot of the same fixtures, although I did use the same sink and counter combo that I used in the bathroom downstairs. And I just did that because I didn't really like how any of the just plain sinks that go into the counter looked with this counter, because I don't know, just nothing was modern enough. It was either the kitchen sinks or sinks that I felt weren't really good for bathrooms. Like, I feel like they definitely need more plain sinks, like not pedestal sinks, but just the sinks that go into the counters that work for bathrooms, because I think there's definitely a lack of that. So I hope that's something that they make more of in the future. Oh, and here I realized that I forgot to put a smart speaker in their room, so we definitely had to do that. We also got a tablet there, thought that there should be a little bit more technology, and I also put one in their bathroom because I forgot to do that, so that's on just like a table in there, because I just imagine them being the kind of people where they don't even use light switches. They just walk into the room and they're like, Lindsay, lights on. Lindsay, I don't know what else to do, or turn on speakers, I don't know, like they don't even use the light switches. It's just all voice commands. Like, that's just what they're used to, so that's why I just put one in every room also. But we're onto their daughter Melody's room, and I really like this room, and I was able to fit in all the toys I felt she needed in here, so I did end up furnishing that one room that was on the lower level as the office for Glenn. And then I was also thinking maybe I could also make the area on the top of the stairs a play area, but I ended up not doing that because, like I said, I thought I fit in plenty of toys for her. Like, we got a couple of these big stuffed animals, we got a dollhouse, I got these other decorations, we got the Lego table, there's a toy box, there ends up being a little reading area with a bookshelf and 2 chairs, because I just imagined that the 2 of them could sit there and read to her together, and they could each be in their own chair, or maybe like she could be in one chair and one of them could be in the other chair reading to her. I just thought that was really cute. And then above the dollhouse, I just have these shelves, and I just stuck some decorations. And here I am using that red shelf once again because it was just so handy. I'm so glad I finally got this. I know I said that before, I'm so glad. And I feel like I always have a habit of doing this in toddler rooms where above the dollhouse, I just stick 2 shelves. I don't know why I do that. It's just my go-to method of toddler room decoration, but I mean, it works. And I was trying to figure out some wall decorations. I always have a little bit of trouble figuring out wall decorations for toddler rooms because, like with child rooms, I tend to stick a lot of posters everywhere because I just imagine that they're picking posters of their favorite TV shows or characters and sticking all over the wall. But with toddler rooms, I feel like that doesn't make quite as much sense because at that age, they're not really going to be picking out their own wall decorations, so it's more so the parents doing it. And I just kind of feel like they would pick things that maybe go together a little bit more, like more framed picture type decorations. But there aren't really a ton of those that I think suit toddler rooms. So I don't know, for that reason, I always have a little bit of trouble figuring out the decorations. But I did find that one that I put above the bed that is really cute, and I thought it just worked so well for this room. And now I'm just working on that reading area that I was talking about, and this room also, of course, has a Lindsay smart speaker in it, and I also went and added one of those, I think it was called like the Wabbit tablet at the very end, because I figured I figured this is a toddler that would have some technology, like I could just see them getting a tablet for her that has some toddler-friendly games in it, but I think this is about it for her room. There's not really too much more to it. Yeah, here was where I went and added in the Wabbit tablet. So I was just rearranging the night table a little bit so I had some space for it to actually snap onto the end table, because I wasn't sure if they are able to grab it if it's not snapped onto tables. I think they can, but I wasn't sure, so just to be safe, I made it so that snapped. But right here on this landing area, I just put a karaoke machine in just because I want to have some other kind of fun activity here. So we got that up here. There's also another keyboard because I figured since Glenn is so into playing the piano that he would maybe want to have a grand piano and an electric piano as well. And then there is also a chess table, so that's yet another skill building object. And I probably could have gotten more space up here if I hadn't had such a large open area, but I just really wanted this apartment to have a wow factor to it, and I thought that 2-level area would just definitely give that. Same with the 2-level area going down to the basement, because yeah, once again, I just wanted to just feel very grand, very sprawling. I didn't want things to feel crammed in anywhere, because even though this is 3 levels and it is pretty large, each level still isn't massive. But yeah, we're just getting a wall painting in here. I did want to add more to this area than there is, but whenever I tried adding more to it, it just didn't look right. So I figured, yeah, because I was trying to put a plan here, but then I was like, I've used that plan so many times. So I decided to go the less is more route and not cram that area full of decorations. But now we're on to the last room, which is Glenn's office. So in this room, we just got his computer. His office is set up differently than Steven's, so the desk is just facing the window so he could be working on it and look out and see the view of Del Sol Valley, or not Del Sol Valley, of San Myshuno, because I didn't really see him as being someone who would be having like clients come into this office because he's not really a business owner. But we've got a microphone in here for him to practice his acting. I've also put this cabinet in here to put a bunch of acting trophies. This doesn't quite fit in with the style of the apartment. I really wish there was something a little more modern like that, but it was the closest thing, so I figured that was good. And then we also got the microphone in the corner with the spotlight on it, although I now realize this setup is kind of weird because he's facing the wall with a spotlight on him, so I didn't even think about that till just now. So maybe I should have had that more in the middle of the room so that he's facing out towards the room. That would have made a little more sense with the lights. But anyway, we are nearing the end of this. So as I said before, there's a link to download in the description. There'll be stuff in there how to find it in-game. And I also hope you all had a lovely New Year's, because that was earlier in the week. I spent some time with family on New Year's Eve. It was a lot of fun, so I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's and Christmas and holiday season and all of that as well. But that's going to be all for me, so I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video.